Rosa Rosal's life reads like a sweeping film, a young woman shaped by war and recovery, transformed by cinema's glow, and ultimately defined by service. Born as Florence Lansing Danan in Manila on October 16, 1928, she came of age in a country rebuilding itself after World War II. The contradictions of that era, hardship and hope, glamour and grit, would become the signature rhythm of her story. She stepped onto the screen in the late 1940s, just as Philippine cinema surged into its golden age, and audiences found in her not only beauty and poise, but an undeniable emotional presence. Yet beyond the marquee lights, Rosa carried a steady conviction that fame should be used to lift others. Decades later, Filipinos would remember her just as much for the blood donors she rallied and the lives she helped heal as for the roles that made her a legend. Early life in wartime Manila and the dawn of a career. Rosa's formative years were lived against the backdrop of wartime Manila, where resilience was not a virtue but a necessity. The city, scarred by conflict, was also bursting with creativity as artists, musicians, and filmmakers sought to restore a sense of wonder and normalcy. Florence became Rosa Rosal, a name that married floral softness with an elegant cadence, one that suited both the screen and the public imagination. Like many great stars of her generation, she did not simply arrive at stardom. She built it, performance by performance, mastering the stillness and intensity that made studio cameras fall in love with her face. Early roles allowed her to explore characters with depth and moral complexity, and she took them seriously, refining a style that felt mature from the start. She was classic without being distant, captivating without needing to show off. In a time when image mattered, Rosa offered substance. Cinema, the golden age, and a screen presence with staying power. Her film career reached its peak in the 1950s, the celebrated Golden Age of Philippine cinema. In dramas that demanded emotional range and ethical nuance, Rosa found her natural home. She portrayed women who were not simply beautiful but layered, torn by duty, moved by love, and forged by circumstance. In these stories of struggle and redemption, her performances gave quiet power to characters who carried the weight of entire narratives in their eyes. On set, she was known for professionalism, calm, and exacting standards, traits that earned the respect of directors, crews, and fellow actors. As the industry evolved, she embraced television and public service programming, using her platform to connect with ordinary viewers beyond the theater. For Rosa, the camera was never just a spotlight. It was a bridge to community, a way to speak into homes with sincerity and care. From star to servant, Red Cross leadership, and the championing of blood donation. If her art made her beloved, her humanitarian work made her indispensable. Rosa became synonymous with the Philippine Red Cross, dedicating decades to volunteerism, public health advocacy, and mobilizing support for the vulnerable. She understood that the same clarity and compassion that made her a compelling actress could be harnessed to save lives. The mission that would define her public service was voluntary blood donation, a cause she championed with relentless consistency. She encouraged ordinary Filipinos to become extraordinary givers, turning private empathy into communal action. In campaigns, televised appeals, and community outreach, Rosa met people where they were, speaking plainly, asking bravely, thanking generously. Under her influence, the idea of donating blood moved from obligation to pride, from fear to courage, from occasional act to national habit. Her service set a standard for celebrity activism that was humble, tireless, and results-driven. Personal life, poise, humility, and a family grounded in service. Behind the public figure was a woman known by family and close friends for grace, without pretense. Rosa married Walter Gaeta, and together they raised their daughter, Toni Rose Gaeta, who would find her own path in television. Those who worked with Rosa often described a person who listened more than she spoke, who chose presence over spectacle. She carried herself with the quiet habits of someone who believed character mattered most when no one was watching. In private, she was loyal and steady. In public, she was dignified but accessible. Fame did not harden her. It softened her toward others. That paradox fueled her longevity as both actress and humanitarian. Star quality on screen, servant's heart off it. Awards and influence. More than a trophy, a trust. Recognition followed naturally. Awards honored her artistry. Civic citations honored her public service. The distinctions mattered less to Rosa than the trust they represented. Every plaque was a reminder to keep showing up. Every medal a nudge to keep asking for help on behalf of those who had none. She inspired cadres of volunteers who regarded her not as a distant icon, but as a working leader willing to set the pace and shoulder the load. In the cultural memory of the Philippines, Rosa occupies a rare space, an artist whose legacy is inseparable from advocacy, a face that graced posters and also stood beside gurneys, a voice that delivered lines and also comforted families in crisis. Public service on camera, the bridge between art and action. Rosa's move into television public service shows was an elegant pivot that united her talents. She used airtime to educate, to appeal for blood donors, and to highlight needs across communities. Her delivery was clear, empathetic, and persuasive without theatrics. Viewers trusted her because she treated them as partners. She made public service feel practical and personal, something beyond slogans. In an era before viral clips and instant shares, Rosa built momentum the hard way. Consistently, patiently, and with a sense of moral duty. The programs she anchored became templates for how media can mobilize kindness and connect institutions to citizens. The arc of service, sustained, scaffolded, and lived. Longevity defined Rosa's humanitarian work. This was not a chapter in her life, it was the spine. She mentored volunteers and nurtured a culture of readiness, reminding teams that preparation and compassion were two sides of the same coin. In crises, she prioritized coordination and respect. In calm, she focused on recruitment and education. Her leadership style favored continuity and accountability. She thought in both immediate needs and long timelines, aiming to leave systems stronger than she found them. And when public attention waned, she remained, proving that real service is what continues after headlines fade. Late years, enduring presence, undiminished purpose. Even as she aged, Rosa stayed active, appearing at blood donation drives, volunteer gatherings, and public events with the same steadiness that had defined her career. The poise that once mesmerized cameras now anchored rooms full of volunteers. Her fame became a familiar doorway through which new generations entered the work of service. When people thanked her, she thanked them back. When people praised her, she redirected credit to teams and donors. In her late years, Rosa seemed even more herself, distilled, serene, and profoundly committed to the idea that ordinary acts of care build an extraordinary nation. Passing and remembrance, a farewell wrapped in gratitude. Rosa Rosal died at 97, closing a chapter that spanned art, service, and national memory. Tributes poured in from the film community, humanitarian organizations, and individuals whose lives were touched by her work. The grief felt public because her kindness had been public. Yet the tone of remembrance was not only sorrow, it was gratitude. People recalled the elegance of her performances and the courage of her appeals, the signature way she could lend dignity to both a character and a cause. In death, Rosa gave the country one more gift, a reason to reflect on the kind of fame that elevates others and the kind of service that endures. Legacy, the convergence of beauty and duty. Rosa Rosal's legacy belongs to the intersection of beauty and duty. She proved that artistry does not need to be insulated from responsibility, that a career can shine brightest when it illuminates the path for others. For artists, she modeled professionalism and emotional authenticity. For public servants and volunteers, she modeled humility and resolve. For the broader public, she modeled the quiet heroism of showing up, again and again, for the common good. Her impact continues wherever a donor lifts their sleeve, wherever a volunteer answers a call, wherever a viewer remembers that empathy can be organized into action. Why Rosa matters now? In a world saturated with images and demands for attention, Rosa's life offers a counterpoint. Let the spotlight be useful. She took a tool built for entertainment and used it to save lives. She turned admiration into momentum. She transformed the meaning of celebrity from self-display to communal service. That is why her name endures on screens, in awards, and in the living network of volunteers who learned from her example. Rosa Rosal is remembered not only because she was seen, but because she helped others be seen. The sick, the vulnerable, the quietly generous. The nation's memory of her is not just nostalgic. It is instructive, a blueprint for how talent can become tenderness, and how tenderness can become structure. Final note, the story we keep. The story of Rosa Rosal does not end with her passing. It continues in the habits of care she cultivated. Every organized drive, every trained volunteer, every informed viewer, these are chapters she helped write. The Philippines has many icons, but few whose artistry and advocacy are woven so tightly into the fabric of public life. In remembering Rosa, we remember a standard: be excellent, be kind, be steadfast. The lights dim, the applause fades, but the service goes on. And in that relentless continuity, Rosa's legacy lives.